morning. Come on in. We'll get started in a second here. First Friday of the month, we're really happy to have Miss Katharyn Davis here, our attorney that's going to keep us updated. I see smiles on her face, so August is starting off well.
Well, yes. I will tell you that we've been slammed busy for the last few weeks with our eviction dockets are huge, and I've had my other weird cases that I do bouncing here and there, and so it's been a lot. But we've still managed to squeeze some time in for keeping up with Housing Solutions Coalition, and I did a Zoom meeting with some lawyers and judges from the city on the new squatter law. And I've spoken to a judge in the county about it, but that goes into effect August 28th. So I'm hoping that one of the courts will draft sample pleadings, because I've warned them that it's likely that their first litigants on this might be pro se plaintiffs. And I think that the standards are spelled out in the new statute, but that's not necessarily readily apparent to a person coming into the courthouse off the street and trying to file to get a squatter out. And if they want to do these similarly to the domestic violence OPs, they need to have the pleadings ready, because the same is true if you're getting a stalking order or domestic violence protection. You walk into the courthouse and they have the stuff there for you to fill out. You don't have to make it up yourself. I kind of think a couple of the judges would like me to make up these pleadings, and I might do it yet if I don't see real progress. We'll see. And a couple of them have predicted to me that they'll say, well, you're going to be the first one to have one of these cases, Kathy. Well, if I am, then I will be drafting those pleadings, yes. But the basic deal is that there's now a faster way to get rid of squatters. There are stringent requirements in the statute about who is a squatter and that kind of thing. It's not a tenant that you're tired of. It's someone who has broken in off the street with no right to be there. And there are some other stringent requirements too. These are going to be important for us to follow, because there are penalties if we do it for someone who's not really a squatter. So this is going to be helpful because, as we've discussed before, prior there wasn't really a way to get rid of these folks, and you would have people who would bust into a place, or even worse, kind of get put into a place by someone who was fraudulently pretending to be the landlord. And then you call the police because you're the rightful owner, and the police really were not in a position to adjudicate this on the sidewalk and figure out who was supposed to be there and who wasn't, and that kind of thing. So this is going to give us a fast, good remedy for those situations that will not that the police will be able to enforce, because it's all written out. Now, in talks in the statute about the sheriff enforcing it, our sheriffs in the city and the county are not really law enforcement in the way that that police are. So sometimes when we do a regular eviction that's very crazy, the sheriffs will invite the police to come along in the city and the county, so that there's actual like kind of law enforcement guys. But I don't know what they're going to do yet. I'm planning to talk to our sheriff in St. Louis County within the next few days to see, first of all, if he's even aware of this, and secondly, how he's going to want this to work. So that's that big news. The second piece of news that I just got this morning is the governor has appointed a new judge, a new associate circuit judge in the city, to take the place of Judge Reuther, who has been elevated to circuit court. And this new judge is Patrick Richmond. He's a prosecutor in St. Louis County. I don't know him, but I've heard nice things about him. And it's usually good for my team if it's a former prosecutor on the bench. They are often less likely to be taken in by sob stories and con artists and criminal hucksters, if you will, that are the kind of people that we're often evicting. So we'll see how he does, but we want to congratulate him and wish him good luck, and we'll see what division he goes into. I'll let you know when I know that. And but he'll be circulating in the associate divisions for a while, probably, and maybe we'll get him in 27 or 28 to do our landlord cases. let's see. John just told me, John, can I say the date of the tax sale seminar?
Yes,
John
please.
and Laura went to Kansas City with me earlier this summer, where I was a speaker at the Scott Walderbach's tax sale seminar. And I shared the podium with Julie Anderson, who's an eviction lawyer in Kansas City, and we talked about evictions. It was really fun. It was a great crowd. And we said, why don't you bring it to St. Louis? And John raised his hand, and we introduced him to Scott. And so you guys are going to be running this next year, I think, or Scott will be running it. You're going to be like the ground support. So that'll be really fun. Hopefully Scott will let me speak again. And even if he doesn't, I would recommend that you go, because it's all day of speakers and it's really helpful on tax sales and, you know, that kind of thing. And, you know, like I said, this year we did evictions, and anytime you buy real estate at a foreclosure tax sale, you might have to do an eviction sooner or later. Plus, just in general, it's good to know about those things, right? We met, I got to thank John and Laura also for joining me on the Housing Solutions Coalition, where we have various well-intentioned but poorly informed people from the city of St. Louis come to tell us how they're going to solve things like homelessness. So these two young people came to speak to us last week about how they work for the city and they're going to solve the problem of homelessness. And what they want to do is they want to move people directly from being unhoused and living in the bus shelter to traditional housing. And I understand that that sounds wonderful, but here's my concern. A lot of the homeless in my neighborhood, the Central West End, are mentally ill. And I feel like that's probably true throughout the area. Many of them are self-medicating with drugs or alcohol, maybe to treat their mental illness, or because they're an addict, they're, you know, not mentally right, but they're not necessarily people who are ready to move in next door to a family or into a regular apartment building. So I raised my hand and I said, what are we going to do about the people who really need to get stabilized and be ready to move into a community? Because if you don't get them in that shape, someone's going to be calling me asking me to evict them within a month or two, because they're going to be driving all the other tenants crazy in the complex. So they didn't seem to think that that was going to be a thing. Although one of the other people who was in the audience called me and asked to have lunch to talk some more about it, because her group is doing grant funding to do some of this. So hopefully we'll get them into a place of sensibility. I mean, I think the tiny houses work better, because that way it's a little transitional. They can get, you know, a place to themselves and get some skills and maybe treat their, you know, mental and physical problems before they're just in a complex and then getting thrown out again back onto the bus shelter. So we'll see if anything comes of that. The people who've been running that group, Charlie and Maureen, have been doing an amazing job. And it's very interesting that these people from the city want to come and talk to us and have us hear their ideas. Ideally, ask us for information back, which they don't all do, but hopefully we're forging some bonds there to get some of these problems taken care of sensibly. Yesterday, when I was going to court in Clayton, there were two guys who looked a little rough, who were sleeping on the benches outside the courthouse at 8 o'clock in the morning. So just because you don't live in the city or you don't live in a neighborhood where this has this, I was surprised to see this in Clayton. And so this could happen anywhere, that someone could be down on their luck and be unhoused and be trying to shelter in public. So we need to figure out a way to deal with it and help these people. Okay, does anybody have any questions today? Okay, you're all in great shape. Hopefully the horrible heat has been over. I told my people here at work earlier this week, when we were under a thunderstorm alert and it was 200 degrees, I said, I really think the weather should have to choose. It should either be extremely hot or a crazy thunderstorm, not both. It's not fair to have both at the same time. So I'll be back next month. I will, of course, let John and Laura know so they can update your website if we get forms for the squatters or if anything else comes up that you need to know about. and have a great weekend.
Thank you,
Great.
Kathy. Great
Thank you.
updates. And yeah, we're going to see what we can do about the tiny homes too. I've reached out to both our speakers and I haven't heard back from them yet, but I think that's the way to go. What you said right there in the mental
Yeah.
illness, that keeps them away. And I know you brought up that point too, keeps them away from maybe a multi-family thing where they disturb the other tenants, because that's really the big problem. And you see it more than anybody.
Well, maybe they can be phased into that, but I think I evict people who are in that situation, and it's tragic, but they're not ready.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, guys, thanks.
Thank you so much. You have a great
you.
August.
Thanks.
Thank you. Yeah, great updates there. Okay.
Yeah.
I guess we'll have, you want to make some announcements, Lloyd, or we want to have Laura get started?
Yeah, we got a few announcements, and we just want to make sure everybody's aware of what we got coming up on our schedule at St. Louis Real Estate Investors. Next month, this coming Monday, August the 5th, we have our next networking lunch at the Applebee's on Olive at 270. And it starts at 11 o'clock. So hope you all can make it there. And also, if you're planning on making to our lunch in September, thanks to Diana, who does all our email blasts, she was getting ready to set it up for September too, and realized that, oh, the first Monday in September is Labor Day, and say, okay, people probably have a lot more other things to do than with their family on Labor Day. So we moved it for September. We're going to move it to the second Monday, which is September 9th. So if you want to get those two dates on if you're available for lunch to come join us, August the 5th, next Monday, or September the 9th for our September networking lunch. And also, John can probably tell you more, but then on Tuesday, the 6th of August, we got a Zoom set up with the state of Missouri for women and minority and veteran-owned business certifications. So, and you should have gotten an email about that if you're on our email list. And then on August the 20th, we got Dale Sweet. I don't know how John does this. He got Dale Sweet right in the middle of Missouri tax sales. He's going to come talk to us on the Tuesday before all the tax sales in the state of Missouri. And if you haven't already, you might take a look at it. I suggest taking a look at his website to get a little primer, MissouriTaxSales.com. He's got videos there. He's actually got a downloadable Excel spreadsheet of all the properties that are going to be on the sale for St. Louis County. And I think he had the city ones too. He's got separate videos to get in more in depth, but he's got a general one for St. Louis County that's it's like an hour and 20 minutes. So I had to take that off in 2 bites. But it was great content, and that's a good primer so you can watch that and get a good list of questions to ask him when he's in person on the 20th. So that should be really good too. Okay, John, I don't know if you want to go into any more depth on this, what you got set up for August the 6th, this coming Tuesday. Zoom, I think is that 11? Yeah, that's 11 o'clock for a minority only. A good opportunity. He set that up. This is just for our group, a special presentation by Missouri State, the state of Missouri on setting up these, getting your business certified. And there's a lot of things you can do with the state, involving with the state government, bidding on jobs. They got things with housing, and a variety of opportunities for minority-owned businesses. So, if you want to say anything more about that, or then want to let Laura do the.
Yeah, thank you, Lloyd. Yeah, there's a couple more things I have here.
Okay.
Yeah, the Missouri certification, this is kind of a big deal. They're setting this up for us, and thanks for mentioning that, Lloyd. You will actually get priority over bids. Now, I don't know if, you can go look, I looked at their website a little bit. There's like 54 contracts you can bid on right now. And it's everything from leasing properties to, just the jobs you can do depending on what your business is. So this is something you may want to pay attention to, and tune into. We'll see about recording. They haven't gave us permission yet. I imagine they'll let us record this and get it on our member site. So, but that's something you want to do. That's, Tuesday, that's the 6th at 11 o'clock. So watch your emails. I'll put a link in the chat for that too, if you want to go ahead and register. We do have quite a few registered right now. Then a couple other things that I do want to mention. Lloyd mentioned our main event on Tuesday, August 20th with Dale Sweet. Our doors open at 6:30. You do want to try to mark that on your calendars, because it is kind of a rare occurrence that we get Dale to come in right during the tax sale auction. So one of the things I'm going to do, we've had a lot of questions. We've talked a little bit about this. So I'm going to do a little workshop on Thursday, next Thursday at 1 o'clock. So, and I'll put a link in the chat for that too. That's going to be, we're just going to simply call it Missouri Tax Sales 1.0 Workshop. And what it is, we're going to have a kind of like an introduction, and we're going to tell you what they are. Let's see here. We're going to tell you Missouri tax sales, what are the Missouri tax sales, how they work, how to get started, and then where you can find out more, because it's really kind of overwhelming if you look at the big picture. And if you just show up and you're interested, like just for example, in St. Louis City, our county, you're not going to have enough time if you just show up on the 20th, because you have to get registered, you have to get your form notarized, and there's a few things like that. So I'm going to go over just some of the basic stuff next Thursday. And that's about the last thing I really wanted to do right now, is set up another event. But it's really, I think, very important, because most people, if you just show up at our meeting on the 20th and you're not registered, you're not going to be able to bid on anything right there, because St. Louis County and city is doing a little bit different than they did. City is definitely different than the county, but the county starts up that Friday right after our main meeting. And if you're not registered already, you cannot bid on these properties. And so I'm going to just talk a little bit about some of that process there, give you the links and some of that. Dale has a lot, like Lloyd mentioned, on his website, which is really, he's got some great information. In fact, Kathy just mentioned, when we were in Kansas City and Gladstone at the tax sale seminar, and Dale was one of the speakers. Very, very knowledgeable. He talks about quiet titles, because just because you buy a tax property and get a certificate or a lien, which is, we'll get into some more details on Thursday about how that works, that doesn't mean you own the property, and especially not free and clear. A lot of people think you might have that free and clear, but that's not the case. That you do have to go through a quiet title process that runs into all kinds of other stuff, and there's a whole process that you need to deal with. So I'll put the link also in the chat for that. That's going to be on Zoom next Thursday. That's the 8th at 1 o'clock. And then the other thing that Kathy mentioned, because the tax sale is coming up August the 26th. It's the fourth Monday every year in Missouri, and all 115 counties do them in the same day at the same time. Now the cities do it a little bit differently now. St. Louis County and St. Louis City and Kansas City do it a little bit differently than everybody else. But all the counties act the same. So we'll go over some of that kind of stuff on Thursday, and I'll answer any kind of questions you have, because there's a lot of, it really gets a little confusing. It's taken me years to learn stuff. And one thing I like about, we were really glad that Scott's going to bring the tax sale seminar to our side of the state next year. Because I'll tell you what, this is, you're actually rubbing shoulders with some of the most educated, some of the smartest people in the state. And I think I mentioned this earlier. I love being the dumbest guy in the room, because I can learn a lot by doing that. And it's just, this is how you learn the stuff, by being around. There's attorneys are in the room, government employees. I got to meet some collectors and some people that I've actually dealt with for years, but it's really nice when you get to sit there and talk to them and have lunch and ask them direct questions. And then also investors and professionals. And and one of the things that we talked to Scott about is we are putting you on a waiting list right now. And I would definitely, if you're interested at all, I would definitely get on that list. And the things that we will need is, I'll need your name, your phone number and email address, and then your designation, whether you're an attorney, a government employee, or an investor/professional. So that's just, you do want to get on the list, because I'm sure the room will fill up. It was pretty full in Kansas City, but in St. Louis, there's a lot more people that are interested. So just send me an email on that with those. And I know some people have sent me here on Zoom have sent me a private message, but please don't do that, because once the private chats disappear, once even though we record everything, they just I don't get those. So a couple of people did say they wanted to be included next year. And so if you do, please send me an email, and that's at ams826@yahoo.com. And I'll put everything I'm talking about here in the chat, just so you'll have easy access to the links. And I think that's it. That's a lot of stuff to go over, but we got a big month coming up here in August. So, all right. So Laura, do you want to give us our disclaimer, and we'll get started with our networking?
Sure. Good morning and welcome, everyone. First, I'd like to do a bit of housekeeping. Feel free to unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. Please be mindful of everyone else by muting yourself while others are speaking. You're welcome to put any contact information specific solutions or contractors here. You're advised to do your own due diligence to your own satisfaction before you invest. The first Friday of each month is Ask the Attorney with Ms. Katharyn Davis. Our meetings are typically recorded, so only share what you want others to know.
Okay, thank you, Laura. Okay, who wants to start us out today? Let's say it was timely. John mentioned about the registration process. Yeah, you can't just walk in on the day of the sale. You have to fill out a form. In fact, I'm in St. Charles County. I invest in St. Charles County. I got my form already filled out last week. I was going to go sometime. I always thought about it yesterday. I was heading down to the bank to deposit some checks, and I'll swing by the courthouse. But then I heard on the news, the collector's office here in St. Charles is overwhelmed with people applying for that senior tax freeze. They even had extra employees. They've been hiring extra people to handle all that. So, yeah, well, maybe this week, I think, and the deadline for getting those in is coming up here within I think it's either this week or next week. That's why everybody's scrambling to get their applications in for that. So I'm gonna hold off, because you do have to have it at least in St. Charles County, you have to have that form with your signature notarized on it. So I've got my form all filled out to go to the sale this year. It's been a few years since I've been, so since got Dale Suite and everything, getting us educated on it, I'm gonna visit the tax sale again, and it's good. Yeah, it's good to know what like John says, you think you're going to buy a property on the first and second auctions. All you're doing is paying somebody else's taxes, especially if it's a nice house. Don't expect you're going to own that house for what you bid on it. So you might get a good return on your investment when those people pay. Instead, when they pay their late fees and all that, they're going to be paying it to you because you paid their taxes on time. So you can collect your investment plus an interest. But that's all it is, and even it's good. I've done that too. So, okay, who wants to get us going here? Yeah, I got a good crowd this morning. So
I got a quick question.
Sure, go ahead, Eric.
For the August 6th, because I'm out of state right now, so I'll be back sometime next week. It'll be after the 6th. Well, I mean, I'll be able to look at the 6th by where I'm at. But as far as the DD 214 and the disability letter, right? Number one, I have on my computer the DD 214, but I don't have the disability letter on hand right now. I won't have that until I get back to my home. So is there any way I could send that letter, that particular letter later?
Yeah, that's a good question, Eric. Yeah, they will address all that, where to send and what to do. And it is a process. It's not that if you don't show up on Tuesday, you can't get involved. It is something that's ongoing, and they're just setting this up for us on Tuesday. So we will have all the contact information and who to get a hold of and exactly what you need. That's some of the things they're going to go over. So
That's Thursday, right?
that's Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Oh,
The Missouri certification, that's Tuesday. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, they're going to talk about the process for people that don't know. It sounds like you're already pretty familiar with some of the process. You know some of the forms and you've got them. But this Zoom, as I understand, is just going to be the people in the from Jeff City explaining the process to get certified, to bid on those jobs and the opportunities that are available for minority-owned businesses.
Yeah,
So
just make sure you enroll for it. And even if for some reason you don't make it, I'll make sure you get we still have to get approval for to share the recording, which I don't see that as a problem, but we will have the contact information for them. So you'll have everything you need, Eric. I'll make sure of that.
Okay.
yeah, it's going to be on Zoom. So if you're in another state or another country, and you just got to look at your time zone, wherever you are, to get on at the right time to get onto it live. But then, yeah, like I said, like John said, hopefully they'll let us share the recording and put it on our website for folks that can't make it at 11 o'clock on Tuesday.
Yeah,
Oh,
I had
one
a
more
question
question.
about that. Oh, go ahead, Eric.
Oh, just real quick. John, would you have, because I think I see to that information about for next year. Do you happen to, do you know if you have it? Because I never see no response that you say that you got it. So if not, then I have to send it again.
It doesn't hurt to send it again. I think I do have you on the list. I'll have to go back and look, Eric, but I believe I do. But it doesn't hurt to go ahead and send it again. And just a reminder for everybody, just send me an email address. I put that in there, and just send me that you're interested in going. And just, what's your name, your contact info, which would be phone number and email. Just please give me both so we can make sure we get a hold of you. I won't share it with anybody other than Scott, who puts together the program. And then your designation. We just want you to know if you're an attorney, because attorneys, which we do have a lot of attend, or we did this year, they get CE credits. So that's something you want to keep in mind. They pay a little bit more, but they get more out of it. Government employees are free. So if you know anybody that's a government employee, and I am inviting a few of them that I know, and then investors and professionals, just let me know if you're an investor, which like in your case, Eric, I do know you, so I know that, but it's always good to know, just so we know, so Scott has an idea of who's attending. So yeah, just go ahead and just send that to me, even if you already did. And like I said, if a couple people put it in the chat as a private message here, those things disappear after the meeting's over, and I don't get those. And I apologize, but I just don't have access to that. So if you did happen to do that, please send it to me again. So good question, Eric. Thank you. So Laura, you had a
Yeah.
question?
Laura, yeah, go ahead, Laura.
Yeah, I have a question about the event on Tuesday. I want to attend. How long do you think it's going to last? Because my schedule's kind of full. How long do you think it'll last? And if for some reason I couldn't attend or couldn't stay, did I hear you say you think you will be able to share a recording?
It's scheduled for 1 hour, and the state's usually pretty punctual. I don't know that they will be, but but that's the plan. And we plan on having a recording, and we just need to get their permission to share it and put it on the member site, but we probably will. I don't see why they wouldn't, but we do have to have their blessing on that, Laura.
Okay, great. Thanks. I will sign up and hopefully attend. Thank you.
Yeah. If nothing else, sign up. Just even if you can't attend, and I'll make sure you get the contact information, like I said.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Sure.
Okay.
Looks like we got a couple of things in the chat here. Reggie, which website do you see bid opportunities on? Reggie, you're there. Can you unmute? I'm not sure which opportunities you're talking about. Are you talking about the ones for Dale?
Hey, John, you had mentioned earlier when you were talking about the small business certifications that you had saw somewhere on a website where there was like 50 bid opportunities to look at. And I was wondering which website you saw those on.
That's one of the things they'll be sharing that with. Honestly, I don't remember which one. It'll take me a while to sift through and find it because they've got a lot of information, and they do specifically have a site with the bid opportunities, Reggie, and that's updated. I think it's like every couple weeks. I don't know how often they do it, but we'll have that information for you on Tuesday. So just
Okay.
sign up if you're not, even if you can't be there, like we just talked about, and I'll make sure you get a link to that.
Okay, thank you.
Certainly. And then Ishmael said, who has a contract for an investor-friendly appraiser in St. Louis?
Yeah,
Contact.
a contact for yeah.
Contact, not contract. Yeah. Can you unmute yourself, Ishmael, and tell us what you're looking for there?
Yes, sir. Hi, how are you? Hi, from California. Yeah, I'm looking for an appraiser. We have a property in St. Louis that we just renovated, and we're looking for an appraiser that we can work with. Seems like all the appraisers in the area are kind of lowballing fully gutted renovated properties out there. So just looking for somebody that.
And then do you want to get it appraised just to, are you getting ready to put it on the market, to see, find a good market value?
Yeah, I'm trying to get a good market value, possibly for a refi out, so I could get the money and put it towards another property we have in the area.
Oh, okay, possibly doing a refi, you said?
Yeah, cash out refi.
Yeah, well, I would first, well, I don't know about, John might have some ideas about this, but I would, whoever you're going to finance with is probably going to tell you who they have their appraiser to look at it, or if, I don't know how most banks and mortgage companies now are just doing on a random basis. They have to pull a number out of a hat or randomly select the appraisers because they've been accused of selecting some appraisers that would give them the values that they're looking for some reason. But I think that's still going on, isn't it, John? I don't know. You may be able to address that better. You've been in the banking business.
That's exactly what I would do, Lloyd, is I would look at where you're going to finance it at, or who's going to do the refinancing. Because one of the things you want to keep in mind, because I've seen this happen many times, is if you don't know the appraiser and you go in there and you just get an appraisal, he may be conservative, and that could, once it's on public record, then you got a problem. That's one of the problems I have with listing properties too, because I like to put them a lot higher than what the appraisal value might be, and then let them bring it down, because you can always go down, but they have a hard time justifying extra value once you get in there. But do you already have somebody in mind for your refinancing, Ishmael?
Yeah, we worked with someone. We got it. Not a very favorable appraisal. Let's just say we did about 160 in repairs, and they came back with an appraisal of 140. I mean, I'm not from St. Louis. I'm in California. I'm a licensed realtor in California, so I know the process of appraisals. But yeah, I'm just looking to get some information from an appraiser out there. Maybe, guide them towards selecting my file of some sort if I can.
One of the things you might do, you're licensed out in California, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
But you own the property here in St. Louis, is that correct also?
Correct. My partner is based in San Diego.
Okay. One of the things, a little tip you might try, we've done this before with very good success, is take what you think it's worth and then make it about 20 or 25% more as far as value goes. Put it up for sale on Zillow. Don't put it on the MLS. Just put it for sale on Zillow. That way it'll go out there with the value on it. Then go get your appraisal. That way you've already got something established there, because for some reason, and I know people say they don't like to use Zillow for a lot of things, but they do. It does show up and kind of skates around. I've had, without getting into too many details, that's just a good way to do it, and then let them bring it down. That way, like just for example, let's say it's a $200,000 property, put it up for sale for $259,000. Okay. And even though you don't expect anybody to buy it, but you never know.
Mm-hmm.
that'll give you some public, just some public knowledge out there to where for the appraiser to get in there. So.
Okay. No, well, thank you for the advice, but is there any contact there for an appraiser out in St. Louis or anything?
Does anybody have anything? Stacy, you deal with appraisers sometimes, don't you? Do you? I personally don't anymore because what I told you is exactly what I do. I just I put everything up for sale a lot more than I think I'm going to get for it. Because you can always come down. I learned that back in the mortgage business because people would go out and get their homes appraised on their own. And usually that's like shooting yourself in the foot, because if you get a lot of appraisers want to be conservative, but if you've already established a value, or if you've already got a value from the lender, a lot of times they'll work with favorable appraisers that want to get the value for you, because it's different having a refinance than opposed to a purchase. Those are two totally different things. So I personally don't have an appraiser I use. I just let the lending institution do it, just like Lloyd said.
Yeah.
The banks we work with, they have their own appraisers, in-house appraisers, and they usually kind of work around the value if it makes sense. I mean, if you got a $250,000 property or what you have it listed for, even if it's 2 or 2.25, they're not going to give you 300,000, but they may go ahead and say, well, yeah, it's probably 239, even if the houses are selling for 220. So, I'd establish my own value though. That's what I like to do.
All right. Thank you for that info.
Let
Yeah.
me, I do know a couple appraisers I can send you. You can talk to them about, what you're looking for. Just let me know your email. If you want to put it in chat, I'll email you a couple that I know.
Okay, Stacey, we'll do.
Thanks.
Okay. Hopefully we helped Ishmael. So who else has got something for us today?
I've got a question.
Oh yeah, go ahead, Amber.
I am looking to update one of my properties. It is actually owned in my self-directed IRA. I think I want to get a loan for the updates that I want to do on the property. Has anyone had experience with this? When I bought the property originally, I paid cash for it. So I've never had a loan on my self-directed IRA.
Yeah, let's see, there's a special kind of loan you have to get if it's in a self-directed IRA.
Non-recourse.
Non-recourse. Thank you, Bruce. Yeah, it was right on the tip of my tongue, and you helped me spit it out. Non-recourse. Yeah, because they can't hold you liable for it. It's only the value of the property is that what's considered a non-recourse loan. So you can't put your IRA or anything else in jeopardy other than that property on a loan. So it's got to be a non-recourse loan. So I don't know. Does anybody had any experience here on dealing with?
I haven't had experience, but I know there's a list there, and somebody had recommended some bank that's in Kansas City does it. I don't know if Jay has any information, since he's in the market too. He may be able to find that list. I think I may have one somewhere buried in my computer, but I don't know where it's at.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it sounds familiar. I think we had somebody. It was probably when we had Equity Trust making a presentation for us. That's probably where I got. That's why that rings a bell now. And Bruce mention it in Kansas? There's a bank in Kansas City here. I don't know if there's any other institutions that have opened up for that in St. Louis. I would think it with
the property is actually in Kansas City, so that would probably work out just fine.
Yeah, okay, I know. Yeah, you got property in Kansas City too. So yeah, if that's the case, that would probably be ideal. But figuring out what company it is that does that. You might just call around some local banks or some other banks in Kansas City. They might know who does that.
Yep. Thank you for giving me a starting place.
Okay. Hope anybody
How
else.
long have you owned the property, Amber?
I believe I looked the other day. I want to say 5 years.
Oh, okay. You're well seasoned. Yeah, check with a local bank in Kansas City. Yep.
Mhm.
Yep, that's the best thing you could probably do, and then go from there. But your administrator for your IRA may know, but my experience is you don't always get the person that that you want to talk to.
Yeah.
All right. I see
Hey,
Linda McCaskill says she can't, she's at work and cannot talk, but she's looking for a referral for a client, needs someone who can seal and repair driveway and sidewalk cracks. If you know of a reputable person who does work in the Florissant area, please text their contact information to 314-498-0598. Okay, I personally don't. Do you know of anybody, Lloyd, or does anybody else know of anybody that does driveway and
seal and
sidewalk cracks in Florida?
repair, no, nope, not offhand. Seal, repair, and fix cracks. No, anybody else have anybody that they've had a contractor that does concrete sealing and repair?
Mm-mm. No. That's something that doesn't come off real often. When you do need it, though, it is important because
Oh,
I know
yeah,
poor
and,
new ones are expensive.
and it's good to seal and repair it before it gets too far gone. That's that's usually our case in our rentals. We let the sidewalks go until they need to be, our driveway go until it needs to be replaced. It's got so many cracks, and just got to jackhammer it up, and then it's really expensive. So yeah, in fact, not she mentions that I could use some seals on my driveway here at home. So if somebody's got a reference, I'll take it down too.
Yeah, that's something good to find. If we find somebody, let's come back next week and mention it. But she may not be able to wait that long. I don't know
Okay.
what kind of time crunch they're on here.
Mhm.
So.
Okay,
Got a
but if anybody knows,
question. Yeah.
go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, thank you again for everything that y'all are doing and all the information you're providing. So my questions for the week, and as I've stated before, I'm just trying to figure out the route I'm going to go with in my investing. Has anybody had experience with using, and I think this is kind of a hot topic right now with home values being what they are, using HELOCs for getting into investments, and what kind of liability, like how that works with establishing a business or like an LLC, or how, if that's even necessary, that LLC step is even necessary on the first investment.
No, it's not necessary to have an LLC. Something to think about, and I guess it's nice if you've already got one prepared to put properties in. But you talk about a HELOC, taking a second home improvement loan on your personal dwelling,
Current personal
to get
property,
some cash for to buy a rental,
right?
investment
Buy a
property.
rental or fixer or something. I'm not sure yet.
Okay. The odds away, you could probably get. I'm not sure. You need to compare rates and be reasonable.
Right. Yeah, they're around 8-9% right now.
8 or 9%.
So it's
okay.
like better than hard money, right?
Yeah, better than the hard money probably. LSJ can do better than that. Or yeah. But no, it's probably a good way to get started.
Yeah, Lloyd, I have a couple that will do a HELOC. So the best thing is to contact me and let me know, and I can search for them.
Okay.
Search for HELOCs or search
search for a HELOC for you.
Okay, gotcha. I do have a line on that already, and I already have it in process just to get it established for, potential investment property. And so the other part of my question is, or in my research this week, seems like the best, most basic way to go about this is to find the deal and understanding where a good deal is and how, and analyzing properties over and over again, just to really understand what a good deal is. Do you all have any comments on that or suggestions on finding the deal? I know wholesaling kind of came up and starting there, but I know I'm like kind of all over the place right now
Yeah.
with my
Well,
broad spectrum questions.
yeah, well, if you don't want to get into wholesaling, there are a lot of wholesalers, and you can, as an investor, you can get on some wholesalers, buyers list. And I used to have a list that I furnished to a few folks. If you're interested, I could dig it up again and forward it. Their websites. That way you can just leave, go to their websites and request to get on their buyers list. They'll put you on that because I go through that's part of my cleaning out my inbox and my email box every day. I look at what wholesalers have been sending me. It's usually nothing in my area, even though you tell them, oh yeah, I'm in St. Charles County, prefer to these zip codes and everything. Once you get on there, a lot of them aren't that discriminating about, don't segregate their mailing list. So I get stuff from all over the metropolitan area.
And do you usually see all conditions of homes on a wholesaling list, or is it usually fixers, or is it just something that they've got under contract that
something they've got under contract, and generally they're fixers, but there could be some that might not need a gut rehab, but there's a lot of them that there's city properties that do need a gut rehab that they send. I mean, a lot of times it's in good neighborhoods and they want a good price, and it's usually an overinflated price, but they're still that's not a you still do your own analysis and then make your offer even to a wholesaler for if it's something you're interested in looking at. Them, they usually have them on a lockbox or have an open house that for investors to come take a look. And like I said, you get on their list and see what they pop up. And if it's usually a pretty good deal, you gotta act fast. And that's how I got I have bought from one wholesaler, bought a property from one wholesaler. And usually by the time I look, oh yeah, that's good. Maybe I'll look at that tomorrow, and then I don't get a chance to go out and buy that tomorrow. But by tomorrow I'll look at it. Hey, this is a pretty nice property. Call them back. No, it's already under contract. So with the head, I happened to be sitting at my computer the morning this wholesaler put it out there. I immediately called him. Like that was probably the first call I got. We set up an appointment for the afternoon. Before we went to bed that night, we had it already an agreement. And just got together the next day and signed the contract. So it's got to happen pretty fast. You got to know what your market is and to be able to identify the good deals. And so if you got a farming area, that's what I know. A lot of investors will say that if you're looking for, you need to know what the values are in the particular neighborhoods that you want to invest in. So that way you can know property values and a good deal just by taking a quick look at it.
Okay. So they would I'm new to this, to the wholesaling talk, so they would sign over the contract to you for a fee. Is that?
Yeah, just having an assignment. Usually they use a contract, and most contracts have an assignment clause, but wholesalers typically use a fairly simple, straightforward contract that allows them to have assign have them as the buyer or an assignee, and you just take it and there's an assignment. I think it's like an addendum on the contract that they assign it to you, and then you're the one that goes to closing for them. Okay. And they get a dispersal out of the whatever their agreed upon fee is out of that.
Okay, so if you back out, then you just pay your deposit or whatever it was.
Oh, the wholesalers. Yeah, the wholesalers probably don't have much down as a deposit, and they've got it. They've got it worded in their favor. So if they can't find a buyer for it at a price greater than what they paid for it, they're usually not obligated for too much.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Appreciate the information.
Okay. And I see Laura here, Laura Lennington is a wholesale. Well, she has, I think she's kind of working her way out of wholesaling. Laura, you want to add anything to that, comments to that?
Yeah, I do less and less wholesaling, but I do still look for properties all the time. And so, Joey, I would say like one of the most effective things you can do that's cost effective and just has a good like return on effort is just tell everybody you know that you're looking to buy a fixer-upper. Just drop it casually in the conversation, put it on your Facebook. I don't know if that's something people do on Instagram. Facebook is a great place to find leads among friends and family. Just tell people what you're looking for. You have no idea who you know that knows of somebody that needs to sell a house that needs work. So that's just an excellent way to, I think, find something where you get direct to seller and you're not paying an arm and a leg for direct mail. If you are willing to pay for marketing, direct mail is another really, really good way to mass market at scale for a price that's reasonable. Don't know if you're there yet, if that, I won't go into it. I don't do a lot of direct mail, but that's also a really good way to find deals. So it's kind of like my 2 cents for now.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Have you seen any luck with mass mailing via email, or do you get put on spam lists pretty fast?
Yeah, no, I don't do anything mass with email. So, no. And then, yeah, some people do texting. I mean, that game, I never really got into that game big, but I mean, the laws have changed and things like that. But texting has been something that's really effective. I don't know the ins and outs to how to legally do that right now. But
Maybe
like
you
direct
get
mail,
blacklisted pretty quickly.
you can, yeah. And it's, I think, a steep fine if you're not doing things correctly and they hold your feet to the fire. But I do know it's still effective and people are still doing it when, with the proper systems in place. So, but I don't know. I don't know if you have a 9 to 5. I can't tell if you're like in an office or whatever, but all that stuff does take a lot of time to set up. And that's why I just led off with this idea of just talk to people. TTP, talk to people. You're in line at the grocery store and somebody starts small talk with you, figure out a way to drop it in. Like friends, family, figure out how to drop it in. Just walking down the street, there's a house that looks like it could use some love. You see the neighbor, ask the neighbor. That kind of stuff would absolutely bring you a deal if you did it consistently. Yeah,
thank you. Appreciate the input.
Sure.
Yeah, Laura's not more savvy to the today's marketing techniques with Facebook Marketplace and everything. Back when I got started, you had to put a magnetic sign on the door of your car or your truck that said I buy houses, and then drive it around and leave it parked in strategic places in your grocery store. But now it's with
well, that still could work. That's not a bad thing to bring up, actually.
Yeah, I remember.
I'll write that one down.
Chris saying he has a sign on the side of his car, and he was going out of a pizza parlor one night with his kids, and somebody came up to him and said, "Hey, I see that sign on your. Do you buy houses?" He said, "Yeah, that's what the sign on my car dealer says." And he got a lead and said, "Well, yeah, I got this house that I inherited from my grandmother, and I don't know what the heck." And he got a contact. So
yeah, and John Lee used to park a truck outside of his house that I don't think he drove often, or maybe he did, I don't know. But he lived on a busy street, and he had a sign on that one too, I think, right, John?
Yeah, the way I did it is I put it in the windows, the front and back, because the ordinance said you couldn't have signs out there. And also on the side of your car, you got to be a little aware, because my insurance broker told me that you turn your vehicle into a commercial vehicle and you could have other liability. So what I did, like Laura said, I just put it in the front and the back. When the car was sitting out there, the truck was sitting there, it sat for several years. And I got lots of deals that way. People would drive by, see it all the time, and then eventually they'd call.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing that we're going to talk a little bit about this on Thursday at the tax sale intro that we're going to do. And one of the things that I've used a lot in the past, this works really well, is look at the people coming up on the first and second year tax sale. Okay, because you cannot buy their property even if you pay it. Lloyd kind of touched on this before. You don't own the property if you buy them, but you get a lien and you could collect interest. But those are usually good people to contact because they have other things going on. And a lot of them, they cannot or will not fix it up, whether it's money or inherited property. There's all kinds of reasons, tired investors, stuff like that. But that's a good place to get some leads right out of the gate, because not a lot of people look at those things. In fact, I was on the phone this morning. I'm calling a bunch of different counties that I like to deal with and getting their list right now. And the first and second year are my favorite ones, because the third year everybody looks at. And then the post third year, which is, like over the counter sales, things like that are not bought. Those are a lot of times good ones, but then you have to deal with the counties. But there's a lot of good little tricks like that. But yeah, Laura knows some of the best ways to find people and just to talk to them too. So she's a great resource to have. So thank you for bringing all that up. Good stuff.
Yeah. Right. And right now, the county has put together a good list of leads for you for the people with back taxes, like John says. In fact, if you go on Dale Sweet's website, he has a spreadsheet for St. Louis County. Right there, you can download it off of his website. That's MissouriTaxSales.com. That's Dale Sweet's website. He's got a link for a downloadable list of properties, and once you get it in Excel, you can sort it, download it, put it in Excel, sort it however you want by zip code of your area you're interested in, and that'll narrow it down. I remember were you talking about West County or is what you're looking at? You'll probably
get my initial look. Yeah,
initial one. Search West County. You're not going to get as many as you will in North County, but there'll be a shorter list, so it's fewer mailings or fewer contacts that you need to put out there.
Okay, yeah, that's a good suggestion.
You get their contact information, and always a lot of ways online to get phone numbers from just a name and address. But that's all on there. Be on his list.
Yeah, and now that I hear you're targeting West County, I'm going to double down on this talking to people thing.
Yeah,
big time, because that is a highly competitive area with fewer leads than most. So that direct connection is going to be humongous. So no matter, even if you do any of these other things, which are all great and they can all work, make sure you're just talking to people all the time.
Will do.
Okay. What else has got us something for us? Anything else in the chat? I'm kind of scrolling through here. Oh, Bruce put something on here. I don't know if you saw that, Amber. NASB.com. Kansas City, North American Savings Bank, non-recourse loan. There you go. That's one that, yeah. Thank you, Bruce, for sharing that. And hopefully, Amber. Yep. Okay. She's got it. She already saw it. Thank you. Okay. Let's see. Anybody answer? Oh yeah. Okay. John answered about the inspector. Oh, the inspector who was at our meeting, June. Let's see. The inspector was Jason. Was he June or he was before? Jason Schroer was the St. Louis County inspector.
The county inspector is Jason. Yeah, that was the month before.
That was the month before. Yeah, it wasn't June.
Yeah, the guy, Jim, he was the guy who said he would look at your house without a charge. He was the other guy. I thought that's maybe who she was talking
about. Restoration. Yeah, that was the June one. Yeah, but I was going to say Jason was before June. You have his contact information?
No, you just have to call the office. Jason won't give you any information for free, but Jim will. Jim was the guy that he has Pride Restoration, Cleaning and Restoration.
Okay.
And that's who, and we have an inspector too in our membership.
Yeah.
Pete, what's his name? Pete Klarman.
Klarman, yeah.
It depends on what you're looking for. Tiffany, can you unmute and tell us what you're looking for? Maybe not. But yeah, as far as you're talking about the North County inspector, Jason, yeah.
Jason Schreier.
Yeah, he won't necessarily talk to you. I guess you could talk to him, but he works for the county. There she is.
It took me a minute to get the unmute button. I have a client in Florissant, and they had an inspection, and it's one of those things where they just keep getting like different things on the list, even though it had passed a few months ago with one list. Then there's another list, like a different inspector comes out, and then there's a different list of things, but things that were already there previously, a few months ago, but now they're saying that it has to be changed. So I just thought it might be worth talking to somebody who came out to the meeting to ask for advice, kind of how to go about things.
Yeah, Jason, I can give you his phone number here. That's 314-599-4259. Since you have a specific Florissant question, he may or may not answer. I don't know.
Yeah.
But you can leave him a message. He could probably get you with the right department.
Yeah, that's my biggest
Thank you so much.
My biggest complaint about inspectors. In fact, Jason mentioned that. He said there can be guys that just think their job is to find something that doesn't exist, or to feel obligated they have to write up something every time they go out. And what are you going to do? They're a government job, and you got to do the best you can to work with the guys that come out. And even Jason mentioned that. He said he's not that way, but apparently he knows some people that he works with that do have that as an objective. And I run across that over the years. I have found a few ways to get around it, but
Thank you very much. I'm definitely open to any advice.
well, I can share with the advice that I used to get around it in St. Anne. I had somebody that I think this was the second apartment. I had four units in St. Anne for my first investment property, and I dealt with him on one, and it's okay. Well, he's really picky, but he came up with another one. Really, it was even worse on the next one. When I called back to schedule a reinspection, okay, I fixed what he did. It was painful. I fixed what he did, what he said. Something had existed for years. It had already passed a previous inspection. Anyway, I called for reinspection, and I was told, I said I'd like to make it on Friday. I can get off work early and meet him there. Well, no, he doesn't work on Fridays. He only works on Tuesday and Wednesdays. So, he's a part-time employee. Yeah, he's just a part-time employee, Tuesdays and Wednesdays. After that, I made sure I never scheduled an inspection on Tuesday or Wednesday. I always asked for a Monday, Thursday, or Friday inspection. And, I didn't have any more problems in St. Anne with St. Anne inspections after that. But I don't know if you can do that. Here in St. Charles, you can't tell. Nowadays, I can't tell them a time. They just assign somebody when they prefer being on a lockbox. And actually, it's worked out best for me too, just being on a lockbox. Give them the combination. That way, they can be flexible, and they get it done quicker too. If I want to set an appointment when I can be there, then it's going to be out next week. I put it on a lockbox that can squeeze it in between a couple when they're in the neighborhood. They can pop in and get it done, and it gets done faster. But yeah, if you got a problem, I've got a lot newer properties now too, so don't run into as many issues as I had with those St. Anne properties. But
yeah, great point about the lockbox too. That's always a good idea. Just make sure your house is clean and smells good.
Yeah.
That's
key.
Yeah,
I always do.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I had a inspector one time in Hazelwood come over and tell me, you really don't want me to do this today because I'm really in a bad mood after that last inspection and it's not lunchtime yet. And I said, that's great. When do you want to come back? He goes, I'll let you know. He did. He came by and passed it with flying colors. So,
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yep.
Listen to that. Yeah. If they give you that kind of feedback, listen, take it. So don't say.
I did, even
Yeah.
though it was a little pain to go back over there because I wasn't really close, but it didn't make any difference. I wanted to pass because they could be your best friend or your worst enemy, and a lockbox will help you a lot. And they're still less than $40 to get one. So do a lockbox.
Yeah. Yeah. Very, very cheap. Well worth it for inspections. Yeah, I don't use it for showing properties anymore. I did when some of my low end apartments in the city, especially when after I moved to St. Charles, I was going to drive down 28 miles to just to show an apartment. And I never did if I only had one appointment. If I was going to go down, I usually had at least three to five appointments set up for that time, and hopefully one of them would show up. But no, for inspectors, yeah, that's good for inspectors.
That's a great point too. You have an open house and you really want a bunch of people at the same time anyway.
Oh, yeah.
When they think other people's involved, it really works good. One of the little tricks that I used to use too is use like, I'll be there between 12:15 and 1:30 or something like that, or 1:45. If you use 15s and 45s instead of on the hour or half hour, people pay more attention to detail. You also find out the people that pay attention, not just you, but you'll find out if they're there at 12:15, then they're probably serious and there's somebody detail oriented you usually want to deal with. At least that's my experience with a lot of people, especially renters, because there's a lot of different mindsets out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you want renters that are mindful of the time and the date that the rent is due, that are very punctual. They're the best kind. That's good. Yeah, I've been pretty good luck here recently too. Rather than setting up a bunch of appointments, I'll say I'm going to be here. Thank you for John. I didn't think about that 15 to 45 thing. I usually say, oh, I'll be here between 1 and 2 in the afternoon. Pop on by. And say that people that are calling, just tell them about that.
Be very specific on your time, and then give them a checklist of stuff to bring too, or stuff you need to know.
Oh yeah.
Give them like 3 different things. I need, we're going to bring the application filled out, have that already sent over to them, and bring your pay stubs or whatever you need, or whatever you're going to send on. I mean, be very specific. You'll find out who your players are right out of the gate.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't want to deal with somebody that doesn't bring stuff and they're not punctual.
Yeah.
Just
yeah.
say you want your rent on time. You want all this stuff to go smooth. You don't want to have to chase them down for anything. At least I don't. You may, I don't.
No. I want people that know how to follow instructions. So if you give them instructions ahead of time, and if they follow them and show up on the right time and have all the right stuff, that's a good sign. They're well on their way to being approved. But yeah, and I let people know that. I usually use the nowadays use the companies that do the online, where I don't deal with any of their personal information or paycheck stubs. But I tell them, hey, this is the company I use, and they're going to require paycheck stubs. They're going to require, if you're self-employed, they're probably going to want to see your last 2 years tax returns and those kind of things. And so let them know that, it's going to be a rigorous process to get to live in one of our houses. So. Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah, quick question. Just follow up on the tax sales, and this may be covered at the next meeting. So if it is, I can wait for that. But I downloaded the Excel file, and there's the first and second offering. I think that's what you were talking about, right?
That's a good list. Those are just people who are behind. For I don't know how long is that? 3 years? Is that St. Louis County? They're 3 years behind when it is on the first.
First and second year, yeah, 3 years and 4 years behind.
3 and 4 years. Okay. In St. Charles County, I thought I heard, maybe it was Dale said on that video, St. Charles County, it's an even shorter list before they get on that. But I haven't get into that. Yeah, that's one that especially if you drive around West County, take a look or Google Maps first on like I said, you're going to have, and Laura indicated that West County is going to be a shorter list because people are more prompt about paying their taxes out in West County. But hey, there's always exceptions, and that's what you're looking for. And Google Maps, look at them. Hey, if it's it looks like the house is a little rundown on Google Maps, well, yeah, it's probably been neglected for a couple of years. That's why they've also didn't pay the taxes for a couple of years. But go through that and target those first to get the information out that you're a buyer and you're interested in that in their property.
Okay, yeah.
Yep.
Nice, thanks.
Yep, you're welcome. Yeah, well, also if you're, I've used, I haven't used that yet, but I have used the foreclosure list when because before a bank or a lender does starts foreclosure process, they have to put a public notice out 21 days ahead of time. And so you get that notice and you jump right on it as soon as a new property shows up on that list. Yeah, that's a good source. I use that as a mailing list. It's a short mailing list. You have to go to the particular companies. There's a couple of attorneys, local attorneys offices that handle the bulk of the foreclosures in St. Louis County. Get on their email list or just go to their website and find to get the updated list, their latest list, and then you can use the ones that are 21 days out. Start using that as your mailing list because they're getting a short fuse on their foreclosures before the foreclosure sale.
You said those are on attorneys' sites?
Yeah, I used to have a list of it. You could give me your put your email. Have you put your email in the chat? Put your email in the chat. I'll try digging that up. There's a couple of ones, and it may change. And if anybody else knows that follows the foreclosure list, Southlaw.com seems like it's one of them. If I'm recalling white, but let me take a look.
Cool, appreciate it.
I'll look because I got them bookmarked on somewhere in my bookmarks. If you're more organized than I am, you could probably find it easier, but I'm not all that organized.
Depends on the day.
Okay, I'll get you here at Gmail. Okay. And also, if I could run across that list, I had them on a spreadsheet of wholesalers. So when I get on wholesalers list, I'll try shooting that to you too.
Awesome. Thanks, Lloyd.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else have anything? If not, it's been a pretty good session today. I see we're already after 12 o'clock, but then we usually after when days that Kathy comes on and gives us a briefing that we usually run past noon, but now she had some good input for us today, as usual. And then a lot of good questions, and hopefully we answered some questions for a few folks. Like John says, we got a lot coming up here this month between our networking lunch this coming Monday and the Zoom meeting 11 o'clock on Tuesday for the minority, women-owned, and veteran-owned businesses. If you know one of those categories or know somebody that is, be sure to pass that along to them. And then August the 20th, Dale Sweet is going to be on, and then John said he's going to do another one Zoom. You said it was going to be on the 8th, John. Talk a little more detail about the registration process.
Yeah, it's going to be kind of like an intro. We're going to talk about what they are. We'll also, Joey, we'll also go into, I'll show you some stuff on how I find the people too on the first and second year, because a lot of times, many times actually, the addresses and phone numbers that you're gonna have on there are not correct, because a lot of times people have other things going on in their life and they're hard to find. Okay, they don't want to be found. That's one reason the county can't find them to find for their taxes. So there's some little things and some things we do to find the people, find their relatives and things like that. Laura Langton mentioned email and text. I would not even go after anybody like that. I always put my stuff on there in case they want to get back in touch with me. But the best thing that I've found is doing direct mail. But I like to do 5 or 10 letters. I don't want to do hundreds of them like a lot of people do. I've done all that, and a lot of times you spend a lot of wheels for nothing. But I really narrow mine down. I want to send out 10 letters and get one property is what I want to do. So that's just kind of the stuff, and we'll talk a little bit about that. That's on Thursday. If you want to, I'd go ahead and recommend if you can be there, and we'll just share some more information like that. That's what we're going to talk about, because I really want you to be prepared when Dale shows up, because he's the expert in St. Louis on our main meeting on the 20th, and it's really good to go in there like Lloyd said, with some good questions, right out of the gate, because we want to go in there and a lot of the basics we can already have down, so you can know some of that kind of stuff. So that's one reason that I'm doing this. I just had a lot of people asking about it, and so we're just going to put together just a real short little thing, and just to kind of let you know how to do, what the process is and what we do with them.
That's a Zoom call, right?
It's a Zoom call, correct?
Yeah, and then too, also watching the video that Dale has on his website, MissouriTaxSales.com. If you take a look at that ahead of time, you will definitely be more informed than most of the people in the room, probably, going to the tax sale. Especially if you're a first timer, you're going to be a well-informed first-time tax sales bidder. So take advantage of all the educational opportunities we got here this month.
Soaking it in.
Yeah, soak it in. It's a good time. Good time to be here in August. So, okay. Nobody else has anything else? I thank you all for coming on today. Hope to see you at lunch next Monday to get things kicked off, and along with all the other things going on this month. Hope to see as many as you can get to, as many opportunities as we've got for you. So thank you for coming, and we'll see you. Take care.
Thanks.
Bye, everybody.